Viklava Udasriya. Atmanam asal tamasa suradhatmanaiva. Bhuyo yata vyasanam etad enek gandham. Mame bhavisyan upasadhita Vishnupada. Is that the right meter?
Yes.
Tasmadaham vigata viklava udisha udharisa.
Yeah, Brahma Samhita, Prabhu.
This is Brahma Yatra.
Yeah.
Tasmadaham vigata viklava udharishyaya. Atmanam asutamasa sudhatmanaiva. Bhuyo yata vyasanam etat anekarandram. Mame bhavishyat upasadita Vishnupada. Tasmadaham vigata viklava udharishya. Atmanam asutamasa suradhatmanaiva. Bhuyo yata vyasanam etad anekarandram. Mame bhavishyat upasadita Vishnupada.
Tasmadaham vigata viklava uttarishya.
Tasmadaham vigata viklava udharishya.
Atmanamastutamasatsuhridavanaiva.
Atmanamasutamasa suvidatmanaiva.
Ekarandram.
Bhuyo yata vyasanam etad anekarandram.
Pada.
Mame bhavishyat upasadita Vishnupada.
Tasmadaham vigata viklava udarishya. Atmanamashuttamasa suridatmaneva.
Atmanam asutamasa suvidatmanaiva.
Bhuyo yata vyasanamettadanekarandram.
Bhuyo yatha vyasanam etad anekarandram.
Bhavishyadupasādita Vishnupada.
Mame bhavishyat upasadita Vishnupada. Tasmad, therefore, aham, I, vigata, ceased, viklava, agitation, udarasye, shall deliver, atmanam, myself, asu, quickly, tamasa, from the darkness, surada atmana, with friendly intelligence, eva, indeed, bhuyaha, again, ita, so that, vyasanam, plight, etad, this, aneka randram, entering many wombs, ma, not, may, my, vivishyat, may occur, upasadita, placed in my mind, Vishnupada, the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Therefore, without being agitated anymore, I shall deliver myself from the darkness of nescience with the help of my mind, clear consciousness. Now this is the soul in the womb praying to the Lord. Simply by keeping the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu in my mind, I shall be saved from entering into the wombs of many mothers for repeated birth and death. So who wants to go into another womb? Nobody? Actually, we should. Prabhupada said there's one more womb we want to go into. When we become pure devotees, we go to a place where Krishna is performing his pastimes. And we enter the womb of a gopi. And we were born in some place where Krishna is performing his pastimes. And we get trained up on how to live with Krishna, with his pure devotees. And then we go back home. Amazing. That's the last one that we want to go into. Purport. The miseries of material existence begin from the very day when the spirit soul takes shelter in the ovum and sperm of the mother and father. They continue after he is born from the womb, and then they are further prolonged. It's amazing. It's just from the moment the soul enters into the ovum, there's already suffering is there. It starts soon, you know. And you know, in some places here also they used to do it. I don't know if it's still here, but as soon as the baby is born, the doctor takes the baby and holds him by his little feet and smack. Wah! Welcome to the material world. In India, they do that. I think to get the breathing going. To get the breathing going, you don't remember probably. To get the lung going, to get the breathing going, to give them a smack. You know? Welcome to the material world. I think they have another process now to get the lung going. They don't give them a smack anymore, at least in America in some places, but in most places in the world, they still give them a smack. We do not know where the suffering ends. It does not end, however, by one's changing his body. Prabhupada was giving a lecture at one university, and he said, I recommend you take this seriously because otherwise you're going to take birth again, and it may be in a dog or a cat. One student said, I don't mind taking birth as a dog. What did Prabhupada say? You have my blessings. Amazing, huh? Prabhupada was shocked. Of course, here, to be a dog here and to be a dog in India, big difference. Yeah. Here, they get pampered. There's restaurants for dogs, there's hotels for dogs, there's all kinds. It's insane. Rich people, very wealthy people leave millions of dollars to their dog. It's amazing. Huh? There was one, Prabhupada, I was just listening to a lecture, Prabhupada, he said there was one man, he had two dogs, and he was so attached to them. And in his will, he left two coffins made of silver for the dogs when they die. He's preparing their death. They're going to have a nice, expensive coffin. It's amazing. Huh? What's that?
Prabhupada, I heard so many lectures where Prabhupada feels so much up because he was saying that Prabhupada, people don't mind becoming dogs, see the advancement of material civilization. He says so many times that people don't mind becoming dogs. He's so, I guess he is so shocked that
Yeah.
such a so degraded.
Yeah. People have become very degraded. The change of body is taking place at every moment, but that does not mean that we are improving from the fetal condition of life to a more comfortable condition. The best thing is, this is underlined by Kotava. Right, so listen. The best thing is, therefore, to develop Krishna consciousness. Here it is stated, Upasadita Vishnupada. This means realization of Krishna consciousness. One who is intelligent by the grace of the Lord and develops Krishna consciousness is successful in his life because simply by keeping himself in Krishna consciousness, he will be saved from the repetition of birth and death. This is one of the main problems in the world, right? Birth. It's so painful because you're just coming out of this little hole, and sometimes it's so traumatic. The child dies, called stillbirth, and the mother dies also. Sometimes they both die. It's such a heavy thing. Thank God we don't have women bodies. It's like intense. It's intense.
When I was growing up, I had a preschool teacher that was like kind of a family friend.
Yeah.
And she died giving birth to her daughter. The rest of her life, her daughter was living trauma that her birth is what caused her death.
But yeah, sometimes the child lives, the mother dies. Sometimes the child dies, the mother lives. They have the cesarean. It can't come out. Can't come out the vagina. They got to cut their stomach. A lot of those happen. Cesarean. So yeah, birth is not a nice thing.
The medieval times, there's these mortality rates where it's like people only live to like 25 years old. Actually, the mortality rates, it's not completely accurate because if people were actually able to be born, they would generally live until the age of like 60 or something in the dark ages of England, Middle Ages. The reason why the mortality rates were at the age of like 25 and 30 is because how many children would die at birth?
Yeah, they didn't. There was no such thing as cesarean, right? And then also the child can't come out. That means the mother dies. Yeah. Also, it can't come out. It dies. Both of them die.
But you couldn't have an abortion rate, and that reduces our life.
Yeah. We have the abortion rate also.
Yeah, with abortion, I mean, how many millions are there? I've heard in India there's 7 million a year in the land of Dharma. 7 million a year. Here there's I think about 1 million or so. So many abortions. Yeah. And Prabhupada said these doctors that are performing these abortions, they will not see the light of day for millions of births. Yeah. Killing all these children. It's like horrible. The child prays that it is better to remain within the womb of darkness and be constantly absorbed in Krishna consciousness than to get out and again fall a victim to the illusory energy. So who was it that stayed in the womb? Didn't want to come out. Sukadeva Goswami. He didn't want to come out because he didn't want to be affected by Maya. He knew that somehow he's a transcendental personality. He knew if I come out of here, it's going to be worse than in the womb. So he decided to stay in the womb. How many years? 16 years. It's amazing. And then what did Vyasadeva do? He called Krishna. Krishna, can you convince him that it's going to be okay? Tell him, come out. It's okay. So Krishna promised him, it's okay. You come out. You won't be bewildered. And he came. Then he came out. He had faith in Krishna. Well, in the womb. It's okay. You can come out. I'll protect you. It's okay. Inconceivable. Boy, wouldn't it be nice if we heard Krishna say that to us before we came out of the womb? It's okay. No Maya will affect you. The illusory energy acts within the abdomen as well as outside the abdomen. But the trick is that if one should remain Krishna conscious, and then the effect of such a horrible condition cannot act unfavorably upon him. So that's the trick. We have to be Krishna conscious. Yeah. Easier said than done. Yeah. Right? We have our mind to deal with. As Prabhupada, he was talking to some French devotees. And he was talking about this, how We can be Krishna conscious and go back to Godhead. And Prabhupada said, so what is the difficulty? What is the difficulty? And no one said anything. But what is the difficulty? The mind. This is the difficulty. This is the difficulty. Krishna says in the Uddhava Gita, Doyamanam adasha, that of difficult things to conquer, I'm the mind. Not a kingdom or just the mind. In Bhagavad Gita, it is said that one's intelligence is his friend, and that the same intelligence can also be the enemy. In the Gita, he says that what is it? The mind can be the friend. Isn't it? Or the enemy.
Yeah.
But here, Krishna is saying, Prabhupada is saying the intelligence. And so the intelligence is our friend when we're thinking of Krishna. And when we stop thinking of Krishna, we bring it back to Krishna. This is our friendly intelligence. But if we're thinking of Maya and we just let it, let the illusion keep going, this is unfriendly intelligence, because we're letting our consciousness go where we don't want it to go. There's a lot of places in this world, a lot of thoughts where we don't want our intelligence or our mind to go to. Yeah. Like unlimited places where the mind, where the intelligence can go. So if we could just focus on Krishna, imagine how much Krishna appreciates that. There's so many things that we can be thinking of, but we're thinking of Krishna. And Krishna appreciates that. And just like sometimes you might talk to a friend, that you haven't spoken to for a long time, a few years, and while you're talking to him, he says, I was just thinking about you. It's like, oh, really? Yeah. It's kind of nice. Hopefully it was good thoughts. So Krishna appreciates it if we think of him, and we don't think of all the nonsense things we can think of. Yeah. Here also the same idea is repeated. Sruad Atmanaiva, friendly intelligence. We're trying to make our intelligence a friend again, our mind a friend again. Absorption of intelligence in the personal service of Krishna and full consciousness of Krishna always are the path of self-realization and liberation. Without being unnecessarily agitated, if we take to the process of Krishna consciousness by constantly chanting the Hare Krishna mantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. The cycle of birth and death can be stopped for good. There's in the Upanishad it said, Amritama Amrita Gama. Now why stay in this place where there's birth and death? Go to that place where there is no death, where there is no birth. Yeah. So this is the goal. No more birthdays.
Mm-hmm.
And then we come into the world and the parents are so happy. Oh, but a self-realized person will think, oh my God, not again. More suffering again. And this is why the living end, he doesn't want to come out, because he knows it's going to be more suffering. And sure enough, more suffering. Doesn't matter. Someone be very wealthy or very intelligent, very handsome, still they're suffering inevitably. It may be questioned herein how the child can be fully Krishna conscious within the womb of the mother without any paraphernalia with which to execute Krishna consciousness. No books, right? In the womb, no books, no beads, nobody there to preach to him. How is it possible? Sometimes just by suffering. they become inspired spiritually. It's like I'll tell you an interesting thing that happened to a friend of mine. He was in the Vietnam War, and him and a platoon, they were jumping out of a helicopter, and as soon as they landed, the soldiers were being shot. The Vietnamese were shooting them as soon as they landed, and my friend was like, he was shocked. He just hit the ground, and he's praying to God. He's shouting to God, God, please save me! Shouting to God, God, please save me. He wasn't a very religious person, but at that point, he became religious. So sometimes without books, without beads, without anybody preaching to you, people pray to God. That happens a lot, actually. We don't hear about it, but that happens a lot. So he shouted so much to God for protection. He survived. Just him and maybe two others survived. And when he got out of the military, he met some devotees, and he became a devotee. Now he's been a devotee for 40 years. No, his name is Brajavallabha. Chandamoli, he was in the military. Oh yeah, and he had a similar instance.
I don't know if it was like same history as that, but I know he was in the military, served in Vietnam, and then came back and was really seeking for.
I think Indradyumna Swami also, was he in Vietnam? He was in the military. I don't know if he went to Vietnam, but yeah, he was definitely.
Or he was just teaching others how to shoot.
Oh yeah, that's a little safer that way.
And that's Parmeshwar Prabhu that when he was saying that about Hindu Maharaj, that he made all his friends chant Hare Krishna, and then because of that, their what is it is called, the group faced way less casualties, or
The platoon, the group of.
yeah.
Uh-huh. You know, there's another devotee, Partha. Remember Partha? Partha Sarthi. He was in he was in the war in Iraq, and he would go out. He would be fighting, and with he was a sergeant, so he would have people with him, and they'd be shooting at him. He'd bring a book with him, and as they're shooting, he'd be reading the book, and the soldiers would, hey, let me hear that too. Yeah, you got any more of those books? Yeah, he was a leader of a platoon, so he would have about 300 people, and they would sing different things as they're marching. You know, they were doing their exercise, and they would march, and he would have them sing Hare Krishna, Krishna, and they would sing it really loud. You know, I mean 300 young, strong Americans, just shouting. The Hare Krishna mantra. It's amazing, huh? He did a lot of service there. He would distribute books at the PX. You know the PX? PX means like the Safeway on the bases. It's called the PX. So he'd be distributing books. And there was one priest, Christian priest, who he had befriended. And he said, well, why don't we go to the PX day? I'll distribute Bibles, and you distribute Bhagavad Gitas. And they had such a nice relationship, and he respected the Bhagavad Gita, and of course, partly he respected the Bible. So they were doing that. They were distributing books. He was distributing Bible, he was distributing Bhagavad Gitas. And they were doing quite well. Yes. Imagine that. A Christian priest distributing Bhagavad Gitas. Where is Partha now? Anybody know? He used to.
One of my godbrother's mentors for some time.
He's a disciple of. Oh, he took initiation from one devotee in Europe, a German devotee. What was his name? Huh? Yeah. Anyway, he's nice devotee. I hope he's doing well. Oh, that's good. That's good. That's good. It is not necessary to arrange for paraphernalia to worship the Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu. The child wants to remain within the abdomen of its mother and at the same time wants to become free from the clutches of Maya. One does not need any material arrangement to cultivate Krishna consciousness. Like the devotees in Australia, they were doing Harinam. This is back in the old days, 1971, 72. And it's not like here where we have free speech. And same thing in Europe. They don't. We have a constitutional right, freedom of speech, freedom of religion. Other places they don't have that, so they stopped the devotees, put them in jail. So they wrote Prabhupada, they put us in jail. We were doing Harinam. What should we do? Should we call a lawyer? Prabhupada said, no. You just, in jail, you chant Hare Krishna. You do the whole program in jail. So they took that to heart. Mangalartik, 4:30. Someone blew the conch shell and boo, 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 boo. Somebody was doing the artik, offering the incense. No incense, right? Then they offered then they were doing the flame. They'd offer the flame to the deities, and then someone would take the flame around. You know, no flame. Yeah. And then they would offer the water, offer the everything. They'd offer the fan to the deities in the mind. Manaseva. Manaseva. In the nectar devotion, there's that famous devotee who heard that you could do Manaseva. He was doing that for years. Just all in the mind. And Vishnu became so pleased with him that when he was testing the sweet rice to see if it's cool enough, because it's got to be cool, he burned his finger. And Vishnu kind of smiled, and Lakshmi said, "Why are you smiling?" And then he called him back home, back together. So, Manaseva. So they're doing this Manaseva in jail. And there's other prisoners in there too. And they're thinking, boy, these Hare Krishnas are pretty far out people. So finally they were saying, hey, these guys don't belong in jail. They were calling the guards. Get them out of here. These are saintly people. Get. So after a few days, they let them out. Sure enough, Prabhupada's formula was perfect. Just chant Hare Krishna, do as you do. Do as we always do at the temple. And they were let out. So you don't need anything. Yeah. Yeah. They didn't have the beads, they didn't have books, but they had each other's association. So that gave strength. Yeah. Probably had some nice morning programs. Yeah. One can cultivate Krishna consciousness anywhere and everywhere, provided he can always think of Krishna. The Maha Mantra, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, can be chanted even within the abdomen of one's mother. It's like a lot of devotees, a lot of Mataji's, the child's in the womb, they put a tape of Prabhupada on their stomachs, they could hear Prabhupada. Because who's the famous example of hearing in the womb? Prahlad Maharaj. He heard Narada Muni perfectly and remembered everything. A real special soul. Huh? Imagine that. So many devotees get to hear Prabhupada while they're in the womb. But what's amazing is devotees, they do this Garbhadan Sanskara, a lot of devotees, 50 rounds, before having sex, just to prepare. And so many things, the lecture on it. But then they don't become devotees. It's like amazing. But none of us had Garbhadan Sanskara, right? Anybody here? Your parents, 16, 50 rounds, or, a lecture of Prabhupada on you hear? Nothing. So many of us, we did so many sinful activities, didn't know, just like, but then we became devotees. It's like inconceivable. One of the reasons I thought about, what did make you think about this also? Tell me what you think. Is that when we grow up, we become familiar with whatever it is we grew up with. We become familiar. So people grow up in Krishna consciousness. The parents are, from the time, I don't know, sometimes, 3 years old, they try to put the beads in the kids' hands, and here, chant Hare Krishna. Or, at least by 5 or 6, they got the beads in their hand, chant Hare Krishna. And they're coming, just like we have this, every morning we have this child coming. They're trying to raise the child. He's maybe 2 years old, and they're trying to give him the cartels and give him the drum, and they're trying to, it's nice, they're trying to raise him in Krishna consciousness. He's in front of the deities, he's hearing the chanting. But the thing is, they become familiar with all of it from a young time. Yeah, I know that. Just like on book distribution, we know, yeah, I know Bhagavad Gita. They're familiar with it. 99% of them haven't read it. But yeah, I know my grandmother, they used to tell us about it. They become familiar from an early age. So this is the problem. We didn't have that. We were fortunate. We didn't have that familiarity with Krishna. So when we did hear, actually maybe some of you did. Would your parents kind of raised you and kind of give some, yeah, reading about Krishna and japa, mother? No, but you would hear about Krishna, yeah. So that was there. So they didn't come too heavy on you. If they would have been too heavy, I would have, isn't it? Sometimes the rebellious nature comes out. So not too much came. So you didn't become too familiar. So I think that's, what do you think? Does that sound like a legitimate understanding? Yes.
My grandma interviewed devotee kids who were around during Prabhupada's time and had been initiated by Prabhupada. So he asked them, those who stayed around in Krishna consciousness, why did they stay around? And he said it was because they saw others around them succeeding in Krishna consciousness, doing well in Krishna consciousness, and they became inspired by that. And what was the reason that if they drifted away, why did they drift away? Is because they didn't feel like they had any upward mobility within this is within ISKCON.
Yeah.
That they couldn't find a place for themselves within it, that all the positions were filled, we're not hiring. So they couldn't feel, where can I contribute within the midst of this?
Yeah, if you think about it, in our temples, there's not much opportunity. I mean, you could be a book distributor, that's fantastic, but not many people can be a book distributor. You can be a cook, which is fantastic. Vishal is great, we love him, yeah. Actually, the reason we're having this now is because in San Diego, everyone's birthday, we would have a party and Vishal would cook the pizza. Everyone's birthday, so there was a nice time to gather and have prasadam, and so that's why we're having this. So you can be a book distributor, you can be a cook, you can be a manager. I mean, there's not much that you can do in ISKCON if you think about it. What else? You can be a preacher. We have very good preachers that aren't book distributors, but they're good preachers. Like the other day, who gave that class yesterday? That was incredible. Hari Pasha, and that was incredible, wonderful class. And we have some good preachers. You can be a preacher, book distributor, cook,
Treasure,
manager, treasurer, yeah, deity worship, yeah, garland maker. Yeah. So there's not many services that people can do in ISKCON. And therefore Prabhupada, he wanted Varnashram, if you have Varnashram. But to have a Varnashram, then you have to have a whole society. We're very small. To have Varnashram, you have to have, the Kshatriya leading the society, Brahmanas giving direction to the Kshatriyas, the Vaishyas, and protecting the cows and doing agricultural activity. So we don't have and Prabhupada actually said, our society will always be small. It will always be small for 4 reasons. Can you guess what those are? No gambling, no intoxication, no meeting, no illicit sex. For that reason, Prabhupada said we will always be small. And there was even the one devotee he said, Prabhupada, this philosophy is so nice. The process is so nice. It's such a wonderful thing that you brought to the West. But if we just have 3 regular principles instead of 4, we would grow exponentially. No gambling, no intoxication, no meat eating. Stop there. Prabhupada said no. He said, I'm not interested in having many stars, flickering stars, one moon. If we can get one moon, then he's satisfied. Now we have so many moons. Prabhupada has created there's so many moons. So he had such high integrity. Most swamis, they come and they just, yeah, do whatever you want. It's okay. Just, just make sure you give me some money. That was their interest. So Prabhupada had such high integrity. Just like Syama Sundar, who's not far from here, he was making money through jewelry. And Prabhupada said, I'm not so interested in this money, but if he becomes a devotee, then that'll be wonderful. So Krishna's really still a devotee. So this is Prabhupada's interest, that we remain. He told the devotees, don't leave ISKCON. He told the devotees, unfortunately, so many of that. Of course, there was a lot of things, a lot of mistakes we made. We, made a lot of mistakes in ISKCON. But still, the movement is going on nicely. Books are going out. Temples are increasing. So, and so many nice Prabhupada disciples stayed and doing nicely. So, this Krishna consciousness cannot be checked in any circumstance. He once said, it's too late. It's interesting. This Krishna consciousness cannot be checked in any circumstance. Why? Because he said it's too late. The books are out there. How many books? Over 500 million books. Yeah. Over 500 million books. Millions, hundreds of millions of books are out there. He said, therefore, even if all of you bloop, still it will come up again. He said that. And I'll tell you an interesting thing that happened in Russia. One person had gotten a Science of Self-Realization, or one of Prabhupada's books, and he had given it to a friend because he knew his friend was interested in spiritual life. So he gave it to him, and he was like, wow, this is really good. And in the book, Prabhupada mentions that it's so important that this knowledge be distributed to everyone. So this person was so touched by Prabhupada's words. It was so clear, so nice. And he was a businessman. He was, well-to-do. So he had a bunch of books printed out. He printed out about 200 or 300 books, and he was going out and distributing them. And then one Sankirtan party came from Moscow, and they were traveling around, and they went to this one town, and they approached one person, and they said, no, I got one already a few days ago. Oh, okay, I guess the Sankirtan party is already visiting it. And then they continued distributing, and then they meet somebody else. Yeah, I got one. It's a good book. It's good. Oh, okay. And then they finally met this person. He's distributing books, and they said, hey, Haribol, Prabhu. And he said, Haribol? What? My name's not Haribol. What's Haribol? That you're distributing books. You don't know Haribol. How's that? He said, yeah, a friend of mine gave me this book. And I read it. And he said, well, what temple are you from? And the person said, temple? There's temples. Yeah, there's temples. He said, you're distributing books? You don't know Haribol? You don't know about temples? How's that? I said, yeah, I read this book. And it's like, it said that this knowledge would be distributed. So I'm distributing. And they were like, couldn't believe it. No devotee, no prasad, nothing. But he got the book, and he's distributing books. Became a book distributor. Amazing, huh? That's the Shakti of Prabhupada's books. So we should have no fear that it will continue. The conclusion of the child's prayer is, so yeah, this is the last verse that he said, let me remain in this condition, although it is very miserable. It is better not to fall a victim to Maya again by going outside. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So if we just follow Prabhupada's instructions, we'll get out of this whole cycle of birth, death, old age, and disease. So any question or comment? I was thinking it would be nice to end this with how Krishna appeared. Pull out that book sticking out there a little bit. 10th canto. This is there's material birth and there's transcendental birth. Right? This is the birth of Lord Krishna. This is from the 10th canto, chapter 3, text number 1 to 5. This is beautiful. This is Krishna's appearance in this world. Thank Krishna he came. Huh? Thereafter, at the auspicious time for the appearance of the Lord, the entire universe was surcharged with the qualities of goodness, beauty, and peace. The constellation, Rohini, we heard that yesterday, right? And when did Krishna appear? What day?
Wednesday.
Wednesday. Did you know that? I didn't know that. He appeared on Wednesday. The constellation Rohini. The constellation Rohini appeared, as did stars like Ashvini. The sun, the moon, and the other stars and planets were all very peaceful. Did you know that these planets, they can be Ashanta, they can be not peaceful. But here it says they were peaceful. All directions appeared extremely pleasing, and the beautiful stars twinkled in the cloudless sky, decorated with towns, villages, mines, and pasturing grounds. The earth seemed all auspicious. The rivers flowed with clear water, and the lakes and vast reservoirs, full of lilies and lotuses, were extraordinarily beautiful. In the trees, the green plants, full of flowers and leaves pleasing to the eyes, birds like cuckoos and swans of bees, and swarms of bees began chanting with sweet voices for the sake of the demigods. They were chanting. A pure breeze began to blow, pleasing the senses, or the sense of touch, and bearing the aroma of flowers. And when the Brahmanas engaged in ritual ceremonies, ignited their fires according to Vedic principles, the fires burned steadily, undisturbed by the breeze. Thus, when the birthless Lord Vishnu, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, was about to appear, the saints and Brahmanas, who had always been disturbed by demons like Kamsa and his men, felt peace within the core of their hearts, and kettle drums simultaneously vibrated from the upper planetary system. So there's the transcendental birth of Krishna. Beautiful, huh? No question? Comment? Yeah.
Distribution, we met one lady, she was from Iran, and she said she lives with somebody who is a devotee, Krishna devotee. So she said that why do you worship a deity? Why do you worship a blue person?
Oh, yeah.
I said, I mentioned what I answered her, because we don't have access to God right now, so we worship a deity form so that we can revive our relationship. She said, you think so? I had access. Everybody has access to God.
Mhm.
No, what to.
No, that's true. They have access to God. But to have deity worship means we have more access. We do personal service for the deity. And for those who are very advanced, they see this is God. This is not just some metal form or marble form, but it's actually God. And we render service to Krishna. So it gives opportunity for service.
Then post-walks example also should go. Post-walks
The
example.
post office, yeah, it's authorized. It's not. They're not just speculating. In the shastras, they just explain, how to do it. It's a whole process. We're not just dreaming this up. It's there in the shastra. Yeah, because they're not able to come to a higher understanding of spiritual life. Therefore, they have to continue on. They could get closer to God, but they're also doing so much sensual activity. Yeah, so much sensual activity. Eating meat, that's one. That's the main one. But they think that's okay. So there's one movement. It's called the born again movement. And Hridanand Maharaj says, born again and again and again and again and again. Because they don't know what is right. They don't know what is wrong. They don't know what is sinful. Although it's there, thou shalt not kill. They think no. Now because we say that so much, and now they change their flyers. Thou shalt not murder. They've changed it to murder now because they know we're saying thou shalt not kill means you shouldn't kill anything. But now they've changed the Bible. Probably rascals. So yeah. Deity worship is so nice. The deities are so beautiful. Radharani here is she's gorgeous. Yeah.
Share anything from your 2 years of practice? What 48 years of practice? Any moments when you really felt reciprocation from Krishna?
I was on book distribution one time in Miami airport, and it was just so nice distributing books. And I remember praying to Krishna, Krishna, even if I go off, just become a nonsense, please allow me to continue distributing books. Because it was just so nice. Somehow Krishna's allowing me to continue distributing books. It's so nice, isn't it? Huh? Distributing books, just in general. It's just so nice, just people, they walk away so happy, getting Prabhupada's books. And we walk away so happy, distributing Prabhupada's books. Prabhupada said, if you read my books, you'll remain a devotee. No, if you and then if you distribute my books, you'll be happy. I think that's something like that. But yeah, giving Krishna consciousness to others is so nice. I had so many nice experiences. I've been distributing books on California Avenue there in Palo Alto lately. It's similar to Castro, where it's a pedestrian street, no cars. So yeah, I met some very nice people there yesterday. Book distribution is so nice.
Any moments when it was good? It was really tough. It was really, those moments when you are really fighting against Maya. It's really strong.
Yeah, Palo Alto, University Avenue. University Avenue, Palo Alto. It's tough there, yeah. But California Avenue, a little different. Nice. Not as many people, but it's nice. Yeah, sometimes it can be tough. You get a tough spot, it can be a little difficult.
I'm asking in terms of your service group because you have been book distribution minister for more than 10 years.
No, 22 years.
22 years.
But fortunately now Vaiseshika was taking that service.
You were traveling so much, so it was your service to inspire the temples. So in that particular service, did you have challenges, as a minister? Any particular challenge that?
No, Krishna's mercy. Never had any challenge. Just Krishna's mercy. I can't think of any challenge. Krishna's very kind.
Share something about like how to born without that desire for recognition or anything, any
Oh, that's a tough one.
and
That's a tough
also
one.
like positions or
Any?
any positions, you know,
Uh-huh.
or any expectations or any future consideration that would just like everything in terms of like, no, I don't want any expectation. I'm just doing service.
Yeah, this name, fame, and adoration. This is very subtle, and practically anybody that's not pure, not a pure devotee, appreciates that to get some recognition, to get some, some fame. It's just that goes along with being a conditioned soul. So, yeah, that's there. I'm not going to lie to you. I mean, I also sometimes appreciate the recognition, the fame. But as we advance, then we become detached from honor and recognition and fame. Because what is this? Just to this body. But I'm not the body. So the more we become free of the bodily conception of life, the more we become free of this name, fame, adoration. But it's because we think we're the body that we're attracted to these things. So as we chant Hare Krishna nicer and nicer and nicer, the more we become free of this subtle contamination. So it's all in the holy name. All in the holy, nothing but the holy name and all the three worlds of Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So yeah, we've got to take shelter very attentively of the holy name. That's our only hope. Yes.
In regards to this example, is very special to Prabhu as an affirmation that states that I look for and appreciate their qualities in others. And he states many times that what we appreciate in others, it grows in us also.
Yeah.
So as a receiver, what is the proper mental movements and emotions to properly receive compliments and this recognition and so forth, and with such a way that won't puff someone up? What is that? How do you?
Well, as Prabhupada said, the spiritual master, he's receiving so much respect, but he offers it to his spiritual master. This is the mercy of my guru, so therefore he could stay humble. This is not me. When we think it's me, then we're in trouble. The mercy of Krishna, the mercy of the spiritual master, that we get any ability, because when we have ability, we get recognition. So all that ability is coming from Krishna. Narada Muni says, devotees of the Lord do not think that the services they do are actions under their own control, but they are expressions of Krishna's supreme mercy. That's Narada Muni. That's in the Brihad Bhagavatamrita. Yeah, I could send that to you. You still have to send me that thing we took a picture of last night in reciprocation. Okay, I think we have some prasadam here. Without further ado, Sarira Vijaya Jodendya Taiga Jiva Fale Visaya Sagare Karma Jayavoyati Lopamoisa Durmati Takajeta Takina Sangsare Krishna Baladoya Moy Godabada Jiva Joy Swaprasadam Dilo Bhai Sanamrita Pal Radha Krishna Gunagan Premadako Shititanya Nitai.
If we can all get the blessings or first. I'll take those blessings.
We'll have a glorification of.
Okay.
Smiling Krishna, smiling Krishna. Shall we? And yeah, shall we do cake now or should we do Aarti too? Aarti and puja and okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
he says yes, the cook says yes.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll do the Aarti in the group. Puja, and we'll go to the cake.
You were doing any new devotees?